Hey guys, welcome back to Maxplained Dawn of War Unification. Today I have another faction guide for you, this time for the Tau Empire. The Tau Empire is, I'm not really that knowledgeable about the lore, but relatively young empire consisting of various Xeno factions in itself. You have the Tau, you have some Crude, you have some other Xeno and non-Xeno parts of the Tau Empire. They are all about the greater good. They have a little caste system. There's the Earth caste builders, the Fire Warrior. The Fire castes are the warriors basically. Then you have the Air caste, which is the aircraft thingy, and you think you have also another caste about the Celestians. And is it Celestian called? What is it called again? The like religious leaders of them praying about the greater good and stuff like that. So they are all things considered relatively peaceful if you consider like the 40k universe. So they are one of the more nicer factions, I would say. In terms of gameplay, they are very special because most of their units are very specialized in one thing and not good in another. So they are not like Space Marines, which can do ranged combat and also some melee and have various weapon upgrades. So they are very versatile. Tau is quite the opposite. Tau has some units that are pretty good at one task and they excel in, and in other tasks they fall off pretty hard. So you need to know what unit does what and to complement them quite well. They are known for their ranged combat, not so much for their melee combat. A lot of people hate Tau with a passion because they are having very long range units in their roster. Okay, without further pre-talk, we now jump into the save game I have prepared. And here we are in the save game, where we see that the Tau have quite a lot of units. You can see it already, quite a lot of units and buildings. But before we go into the details of that, quickly look about the resources and unit caps. The resources are pretty standard. You have requisition, you have power, you get requisition in normal way with your HQ, with your listing posts, captured points, stuff like that. And power is also gotten by generators and thermoplasma generators. What is unique, however, or not unique, but what have the Tau in common with like Eldar, for example, they have tier 2 requisition and power upgrades, but also the second one is also in tier 2. They do not even require another building. You can get both the resource upgrades like back to another. So you can play them in tier 2, like in a prolonged tier 2 economy game quite well if you decide to do that. What is also kind of special is the unit caps. The unit caps, you start with the standard 10-0 and go to the maximum 20-20, but the unit cap increases are tied to your tech buildings. I forgot to look up what are the exact bonuses, but you get more infantry and vehicle cap by your tier 2 building. So you cannot build any more than 2 squad cap in tier 1. You need to get to the next tier so you can get more units out. Your vehicle production building, like the vehicle beacon and later your Titan building, provide you with some support cap, but also your tier 3 building and also your tier 3.5 to collision center also gives you some pop cap. So you will get to your maximum 20-20 cap more or less naturally in your tier 3 normally. But in early game it can be difficult to fight off, let's say, spam builds that spam you with a lot of Space Marines and stuff like that, depending on the map, of course. But yeah, so that's about the unit caps. With the unit caps done, we now jump to the buildings. Also, quick note about the buildings and units. I have all different units enabled here. I will try my best to tell you what unit is like locked behind the victory condition and what not. I may forget a unit or two to tell it, but that's what I want to do here. I do not want to have another save game with these victory condition units. Okay, first things first, the buildings. Your HQ is over here. The Carter headquarters does HQ things, gets your builder, your capping units, also commanders, and later on even some early tier 2 vehicles. Production wise, in tier 1 you have either the barracks or the auxiliary recruitment center. The auxiliary recruitment center in vanilla was called Crude Shaping Center and was tier 2. This got moved here, and you have also now your West Pits and Crudes in tier 1 here. In the Tau Barracks you have Fire Warriors and Pathfinders for your detection here. To help a bit with like getting the right building for the right circumstance, there's a feature that if you build a Tau Barracks, your auxiliary recruitment center will build faster, like 10 seconds faster, and it's also 50 requisition cheaper. So and vice versa, if you build an auxiliary recruitment center, your barracks will be a bit cheaper and faster to build. So this is to help with like getting the right building for the right circumstance a bit better. Yeah, your tier 2 building, the Path of Enlightenment, is also your primary research building. There are not a lot of researches for the Tau Empire, but most of them are here on the Path of Enlightenment, mainly for your Fire Warriors and some for your Crudes as well, for your auxiliaries, I should say. Tier 2, you have the vehicle beacon, where you build basically all your vehicles apart from the Titans, and also your 2 flyers, which is your Barracuda and Sandshak bomber. And your tier 3 building is either Mont Ka command post or Kauyon. So you have to decide. You have a little branch going on in tier 3. I say little, there's a lot of units locked behind one or the other depending on what path you get. In these you also have your tier 4 researchers, which you have to go. It's the teachings of Mont Ka or the teachings of Kauyon. In tier 3 you also can get the Coalition Center, which in vanilla was only used for the Ethereal, which is a pretty awesome commander. But here we have also now 2 more commanders, Commander Longknife and also Libra, which is a victory conditioned unit, tier 2 Titan. And most importantly, you have these these battle suits, these big battle suits we will talk later on. These require a relic and are limited to 2 each. Yeah, basically you cannot have more than 2. Not 2 each, but they have a shared limit of 2 is what I want to say. And lastly, you have your Titan production building, the Advanced Technology Beacon, which gets the tier 1 and tier 2 Titan, as well as your Super Heavy, which in this case is a flyer, the Tiger Shark. For your defensive, you have very good listening posts. Listening posts, your second upgrade has these big old rail guns. The tier 1 have these little laser beams. In vanilla, you do not have any turrets. Here you have a special victory condition which will enable turrets, which enables these drone sentry turrets. They are pretty good turrets, all things considered, and can upgrade into 2 options in tier 2. One is like the missile pod, which is good against vehicles, and the other one is, what is it called? Dual plasma rifle, which is like your multi-purpose thing, basically gets them more damage for all targets. This victory condition also enables you with some mines that you would normally not get. There's also an arc heavy turret, which is similar to your Necron pylon thing, very strong turret. Currently I think it's only requiring tier 2 and it's not very limited, but it requires a special victory condition, so there you have a really strong tower, mainly designed of course for survival. Yeah, generators are pretty standard, the plasma generators and thermal plasma generators, nothing special here. So I think this is all about the buildings. Now we will jump about to the units, and yeah, for the units I need to talk about them, which is locked and whatnot. You see that I also have multiple players, quote unquote, computers to have all the units enabled. Okay, but here we have the Earthcast builder. Just for your note, you see that all the buildings and stuff have more health than you build them with. This is because a buff a hero has, I will tell you in a second. Yeah, your builder does builder things, is very relatively frail, does build and repair and has nothing special about it. It cannot attack, so they are very basic unit. You need to make sure to not lose too much early on. Okay, now to the commanders. Your bread and butter commander is the Tau commander over here. He starts off with just a long-ranged weapon and that's it. But he can upgrade later on with an additional ranged weapon, a flamer, missile pods that are enabled in tier 2 and a no-brainer. And he can also get this more short-ranged pulse weapon in tier 2, which can then upgrade it with a plasma rifle in tier 3. If you lose him, you have to get all these things back again. He can jump if you get the upgrade, which is pretty cool because he is then very mobile. He can lay snare traps, which are very, very important for many builds because Tau relying on defensive plays, so these mines will snare a unit. Yeah, with loose movement speed and attack strength, so they attack a little slower and move slower, I think. And he has target acquired, which is basically a single target damage. Just click it and the target will get not that much damage, but it will get some damage. Can be used to snipe off enemy commanders or builders or units that get away with only one model. You can use it really well. He can kind of hold his own into melee, but yeah, I have I have been in contact with Grindon, which is our go-to vanilla Tau player we have in the Discord. And yeah, he wanted also to add that one of the melee animations where he jumps in the air and attacks all around is kind of difficult for him because he doesn't accept any jump commands and can die while doing this animation. So normally he is meant more to go in ranged combat. He can get into melee, but yeah, don't keep him there for too long. This is your tier 1 commander. I will now jump over here so we can talk about the tier 2 commander, quote unquote, which is the Crude Shaper. The Crude Shaper is a sub-commander which will enhance the squad. He's a Techtrees. He will increase damage, I think, but also most importantly movement speed for melee troops, very important. He himself, however, can go in melee and range. He has a pretty cool rifle by himself, so he can just be built by himself to get you some additional fire support. And this is already all the tier 2 commanders. In tier 3 you get one very important commander, however, which is the Ethereal. The Ethereal by itself isn't the strongest combatant, but he has a map-wide buff to all Tau units and buildings. They get more HP, more morale and whatnot. But if he dies, they will get some damage and morale loss. So it's a double-edged sword. You need to make sure to keep him safe. He has various abilities. He can summon a squad of elite Kader Fireblade bodyguards, which is, I think, free. So free squads comes with him. Very long range, very good. We will talk about them when we are talking about the infantry units. He has an aircast strike, which is very, very strong, and some people find it OP because it has a big old radius dealing a lot of damage, and you see the wind-up time is pretty low as well. Lastly, he can make a even does friendly fire, as we learned right now. Look at the range of it. Jesus Christ. What did something die over here? Hopefully my setup is still alive. So the AoE is pretty significant, I have to say. Didn't know it was that wide. And lastly, you can make a protection of an allied unit. Is it only ally or is it also a enemy unit? Quickly checking. No, it must be an allied unit, so it needs to be a Tau unit, but you can make a holographic double even on a hero and whatnot. Not sure if it does damage or not. Does it state it? No damage, but be real to the enemy. Clones do not count to it cap, so it's more like a decoy unit. Can be good if you have melee units that can then tie up. Stuff like that. Now I want to quickly show you that when I kill him, all your units will get quite a lot of damage, morale damage, and even your buildings will get some damage here. You can see here all your buildings will take some significant damage to them. So yeah, be careful not to lose them. In tier 3 you get also access, depending on your branch and settings, access to Commander Shadow Sun over here. She shares a cap with the Tau commander because she has similar roles. She starts off with a set of dual plasma thingies over here, but she can get 2 different drones. A shield drone, which allows her to get a shield, which will be enabled shortly, and then you have the link drone, which provides detection and also allows her to mark a squad. A marked squad will take additional damage from all sources. She has also the snare trap and the target acquired and can jump. So she's equivalent more or less of the Tau commander over here, so they share a cap in that sense. In tier 3, if you choose the Carrion path, which is the more auxiliary focused path, you have also access to the Dark Heart's crew, which is like a command squad you can think of. You have the Dayhawk Creth over here, which has the ability to thermal detonator, which causes damage to a building and also stuns it, I think. Stealth fields detection, unit production or technology resources also suspended temporarily. So there you go, and also some damage. He can get 2 squad members. One is very interesting, like Traxian Merc. Look at him. He has a multitude of different melee weapons. This is from Eldar, I think, and this is, I don't know, this looks like it. I don't know. He has various melee weapons, very good in melee, so this helps you your squad getting better in melee. I think the EMP grenade is also from him. One have EMP grenades. Okay, no, this is the other one. This is the Gueza, or the names. Give me a second to find the pronunciation. Gueza mercenary. So Gueza is the tower name for like human helpers, and we is like a commander or a squad leader. So this is a human helper commander unit, which has a really good long-range weapon and EMP grenade. So they are not as cheap, so you kind of need to decide, I think, which one will you get, because the Merc here is only melee and she is more or less only range. So I would recommend to get one or the other and then decide which if you want to use them in ranged or melee. For Carrion, you have also access to Commander Lacoma, which is a stealth suit commander, so she is infiltrated. She can use EMP grenades. I think the jump is also enabled right away. She can get a fusion blaster for anti-vehicle and stuff like that, but also an ion cannon, which is more very effective against large amount of targets, less effective against troops. This does not make sense. I think this is more like an AoE cannon. And yeah, she's very stealthy indeed. If you have enabled the victory conditions for more Guerwesa, you can also summon in from a Guerwesa squad, the Guerwesa assassin over here. She can be attached to a squad, long range as she is a sniper, and she has some special rounds. Upon impact, the fired shell releases a cloud of deadly viral agent spreading throughout the entire squad. So this is more like a chemical attack she has. I do not completely remember if the special crude shaper Arkrak Pork is tier 3 or tier 4, but you have also him. He is a special shaper which increases the effectiveness of all groups map-wide. Has also the same issue with the Thorough. If he dies, that they will get some damage. He starts with a photon grenade and can also be attached to the squad, granting some bonuses to the squad. We will quickly check if I kill him. I thought the crews should get some maluses, but it doesn't appear so. So just the bonuses go away. So he has very significant bonuses to all the crews. Requires a relic to be captured. Now lastly, to a tier 4 commander, Commander Longknife. Commander Longknife requires your ethereal to be on the field. He is tier 4, so very late in the tech tree, very good combatant. Has the special shield ability, which will make him and units around him take less damage. I think, I think this is what it does, right? Yeah, from ranged attacks, not melee attacks. He himself is good at ranged, more importantly. He needs to have a theory on the field, because there's like a backstory, you can read it if you want, about him failing to save a theory. So he has now sworn to save other theories by basically a virtue of everything. And lastly, you have a victory conditioned unit, Leaper, the Harbinger of the Greater Good. This, I'm not completely aware where this is, what this is a note to, but I think you guys in the comments will help me out over here. She is tier 2 Titan, she is not a tier 2 Titan, but she is locked behind the tier 2 Titans, and this is mainly because her absolutely mayhem weapons she can fire. Look at this go. This is absolutely amazing she can do. So this is why she's victory condition locked. She has also 2 abilities, Psionic Fury and Psionic Blast. This gives you a big blast in the AoE, and this one and it makes herself stronger. So you can also jump. So this one makes her, I think, even stronger. And this one does damage, I think, around her. I quickly want to see what happens. yeah, you see here big damage around her. Yeah, so that's how she's used. Very late in the tech tree, and yeah, more designed for PvE, as you can see. Ah, that rhymed. Okay, so this is all the commanders. Now talk about the various infantry squads you have available to you, and there is a lot. You have your more suits, which I have covered over here, and you have your auxiliaries, your Gueresa for the humans, but also various others over here. We will start with the suits. In tier 1, you have enabled these stealth suits. This is your basic Kappa units. They are infiltrated right away, start off only with one model, and are very, very bad in combat in the beginning. Do you have upgrades later on which increases their capability as well as the fusion blasters in tier 2, which is a very good anti-vehicle unit, but in the beginning they are very much not designed for combat. You can use them, but mostly they are used for one job, which is what I told you earlier, that they are very specialized in the ways, and this is a specialty is capturing and also decapping. Because they are infiltrated, you will want to make sure to have them on ceasefire stand, so the enemy does not see the unit. If they go close and attack, they will see it. If they are not attacking it, it's very hard to spot them, and you can get decaps very good with them. So keep them on ceasefire early on. Once you get your stealth suit Chastre over here, which is your squad leader, as well as your fusion blasters here too, you will make sure that they want to fire, but until then not as much. Yeah, do you have the commander over here, which is already equipped with kind of a fusion gun, I think, a fusion blaster, something like that. Very good anti-vehicle weapon, and he also enables EMP grenade. So this is kind of in vanilla. If you see that an enemy has a big vehicle on the field you want to kill, you want to get the stealth suits in and use the EMP grenade. Not that they will kill the vehicle by themselves with their fusion blasters, but like 2 to 3 stealth suit squads can chain stun a big vehicle, and it will go down eventually. In tier 1 you have also access to your fire warrior team over here, which is for the most builds you go for your bread and butter unit. Very good range, can be upgraded to get even more range. I think here I got one upgrade. Look at the range, very long range. Yeah, very, very bad in melee, so you want to make sure to keep them away. They need to set up to fire, so you cannot like kite very well. You need to make sure you have a good position to fire. Also your aim move micro you can do for other factions does not really work with them. You need to get them in position manually at best. In tier 2 you can get access to a shield drone and a fire warrior Chaswi because he's a leader. The shield drone will give you this energy shield, which gives you some ranged attack resistance, and the other one, the photon grenade, is coming from your Chaswi. In most circumstances, it is best. You can get also 2. You can get 2 shield drones or 2 fire warriors, or 1 each. For the most part, I would recommend to get the Chaswi, 2 of each, because these units are not designed to take a lot of damage. They are more designed to deal damage. So you want to make sure to keep them out of harm's way anyway. So then you can maximize the damage by getting 2 fire warrior Chaswi, and they will deal a lot of damage. Also in tier 1 you have enabled your Pathfinder team, which is your reconnaissance and detection team, very fast on their foot. Their regular guns also do some minor suppression, but the regular guns you cannot see hit because I have enabled the sniper leader, have not the highest range. They have a Mark Squad ability, which is only enabled in tier 2 because it's very powerful, similar to what we have earlier, and they have assortment of squad attachments they can choose from. They have the Pathfinder Chaswi over here, which has this sniper rifle, so you can use them then as more of a sniper team. But they also have 2 drones over here. The Pulse Accelerator drone, which increases the range of the squad. And then you have the Gruff Inhibitor drone, which I haven't enabled here, which slows units close to the squad, and even the closer they come, the more they get slowed. So as you want to keep them at range anyway, I would normally go for 2 Pathfinder Chaswi or for 2 Pulse Accelerator drones. If you have 2 of these drones, their regular guns, which do suppress, can be fired at longer range, so they can be very effective. And yeah, for the most part, they are very good at reconnaissance because they have very good sight range as well. In tier 2, you get access to your Fire Warrior Breacher team over here, which is, they have kind of shotgun-y weapons, a shorter range. I think I got, they also get more range from the Firewall upgrade over here, very interesting. So they have more shorter range. I think the bigger range is from their leader. Their normal shotguns do not have this big of range. I think it's until here. They have AoE shotguns with some knockback as well, so they are, let's say if your Fire Warriors are your primary firing line, they are standing between the Fire Warriors and your enemy to knock them down and keep your Fire Warriors safe. They can get a shield drone, which is very good for them because they are more likely to get some shots done, but they also get a very good Fire Warrior Breacher chassis in the sense that he has a good rifle, but he has also photon grenades and EMP grenades. So if you get two of them, you have 2 grenades each, so this can be very good and for versatility and whatnot. But having shield drones and having 2 energy shield abilities can be also nice for them. So you need to really assess the situation. In tier 2, you get also access to the broadside battlesuit, which is your anti-vehicle, anti-aircraft unit. It can fire while moving this hand missiles, which isn't as great. The big thing for it, if it deploys in the ground, it will enable its twin railgun on the back, which are very, very strong. The range is pretty good on them. They are very immobile because they need to set up, and you see it takes quite a lot of time. But if you set up a position, you want to hold a position, they are very good. You see that they are also not the fastest overall because they are a bigger suit. You see the smaller suits are a bit faster on their foot than these guys. So this is your tier 2 suits, and tier 3 you get access to more of them. In tier 3 you get your Fire Warrior bodyguard, which is from your ethereal. You can see here that they look really nice, deal quite a good damage and have incredibly long range. They can fire basically half of the map size of like tier 1-on-1 maps. It's not half, but it feels like it. You can fire from a base to the enemy base. They are very strong for that reason. If you choose Mont Car, you can get the Crisis battlesuits in tier 3. They can jump. They are a squad of maximum 3, and they have special weapons which they can equip. They start off, I think, with I'm not really sure what their starting weapons is, but they are normal. The starting weapons are like all-around weapons, but they can specialize in either vehicle stuff with the missile pods or flamers, which are more morale-breaking and infantry stuff. The flamer can be very good against factions which have primarily infantry-focused units like 13th Company or Tyranid, so the flamer can be really good. They also have this little repair drone over here, which helps them with health regeneration. If you chose Carrion, give me a second to get the right player, you also get this kind of cool unit, the drone controller over here, which is an infiltrated guy with a little thing he can set up. He can attack himself, but it's mostly used for getting sniper drones over here. Sniper drones are very long-ranged drones, which deal very good damage. They can get infiltrated by the command on the drone controller over here. But then they do less damage, but are infiltrated. Currently there's a little bug that these sniper drones do not die. Normally they are meant to decay and die at some point. They aren't cheap, so you want to make sure not to spam them too much. They will, however, not count to your squad cap, so this is kind of nice. And this is almost all your squads, but there's one more. In tier 4, if you choose Mont Car, you get the Hazard Close Support suits over here. As I haven't used them myself, I'm not really sure what they are specializing in, but they have very exotic weapons. You see that they are also very expensive, the suits themselves and also the weapons. You have some phased iron cannons on both arms, fusion cascades, and also pulse submunition rifles, which are replace their weapons on both arms. You need to read for yourself what they do. One of them is doing some ground fire thing. It says, but it doesn't do it. Okay, but they are very, very, you see, a bit slow, but very strong. Look at the HP and stuff like that. They are really, really your top-notch tier 4 kind of infantry unit. If you did go for Mod Car, you want to get them, basically. Okay, so this is your kind of your suit. I wanted to say you mostly get them from the barracks stuff over here. Then we have a full bunch of auxiliary units. In tier 1 you have access to Croods. Croods is one of the few units, not one of the few, but yeah, you can kind of say it, your tier 1 melee kind of focused units. They have Crude guns which can fire at range but aren't the strongest. You will want to use them in melee. They have also a melee leap you can research in tier 2. And one special thing about them, quickly seeing, can I get a unit here to, I think, does it work on Fire Warriors? I hope it does. They can cannibalize, use cannibalize. They use then the corpses basically to increase HP of the squad. I think they can get up to 300, I think, and each point of this, I think, represents 1 more HP for each member. They share their food, so any more Crude member that will, or squad that will be built later on, will get some of the shares as well. You can see that they are relatively quickly moving around. Later on in tier 2 and with the special research they can get this double-barreled suppression Crude rifle, which is more like a heavy bolter with some suppression, and the upgrade, the expanded auxiliary weapon cage, I think it's called, also increases the range damage of them, so they can be then a more versatile unit overall. In tier 1 you have also access to the Wespit Sting Wing strain, which are another kind of Xeno race, the Wespits over here, jumping fly-like units, which are primarily harassment based in tier 1. They can use some ranged weaponry but aren't very good. They're also not very good in direct combat. What they excel in is killing enemy buildings. So you want to use them to kill enemy listening posts, to kill some builders maybe, and some plasma generators. For that they have also a special ability called Destabilization, which they can cast on a building, which makes the building take more damage from all sources and deals some damage to the building. You will need to make sure if you use it on a building to be aware that they use this ability, they will then choose targets again on their own, which then will most of the time mean that they will run and try to find an infantry squad, but you want to kill a building, so you need to make sure to babysit them a bit to make sure that they do what you want. They have a very long jump and very low jump cooldown, so they are very mobile. In tier 2 you can get the Wespit String Leader, which I looked at, I tested it, basically more or less doubles the HP, so they are very frail in tier 1 and can be very good in tier 2. With the expanded auxiliary weapon cage you can also get access to some weapons. You have the neutron grenade launchers, which is a grenade launcher, and the plasma rifle, which is more your medium-ranged anti-everything weapon. And in tier 3 you can get the neutron rail rifle, which is more like a sniper, I think. I forgot to talk about, you have also the sonic pulse, which does some knockback and minor damage, primarily used for knockback for units around them. So if you are in the process of harassment and you get some melee units trying to get you away from harassing, you can use that, or you can use that to jump into enemy formations and blast them free so that they are getting disrupted. So this is your tier 1. In tier 2 you do not get any more auxiliaries apart from the Crude Shaper we have over here, and then tier 3 the what they call the shit drops the deck. There's a lot of different units, but they are all from here on, almost all except for the big chicken over here, are Kauyon exclusive units. You have the Crude Hound pack, which is basically more or less an upgraded version of your Crude Carnivore. They are melee specialists, limited to 2. Also get the Leap from the Leap research, and are very fast if you have the Shaper to them. So if you get some Crude Hounds, make sure to give them a Shaper so they can move faster. Also in tier 3 and Kauyon you have the Knarlock Riders, which are basically Crudes riding on miniature Knarlocks. Very good in melee because of their Knarlock over here, but also can hold their own in ranged. Pretty fast, and yeah, very good at tying down enemy units. And these tools, I think, I'm not sure about the squads over here, but about the Guerreza, they are locked behind the victory condition. There's a special Tau victory condition they are locked behind. They are basically humans or guardsmen with Tau equipment, so they have longer ranged HP and everything than a normal guardsman would. That's because also they are tier 3. They have a special Guerreza, which is the commander for them, has a big old gun over here, and the Guerrilla we also enables them to deploy this sniper we have already talked about. The MP grenades I think is enabled by the squad itself. They can also get this heavy gun drone over here, which enables, helps them with more. Give me a second. More damage. And I'm looking, marked squad, is it from the commander? Yeah, the marker lights is from the commander, so they can also then mark a squad. And they can also get this bowcast over here, which is the one over here, which is like a crossbow kind of unit. Does a small AoE and good, and I think all around weapon. Over here the squads, I'm currently not sure if they are locked behind Victor Edition or not, but you can think of them as your kind of space marines from StarCraft 2. So that's why the weapons deal more or less the same damage against all armor classes. So with this in turn makes them very good against units with high armor classes like big vehicles, big demons, commandos, stuff like that. They can deal quite a lot of damage to them. They have this little cool drone over here, the Recon drone, which I think is called Molly. Not sure if this is a little a little notch to one of the what is it called, Deep Rock or thing where they have your little dwarves with a helper unit also called Molly. She's a helper unit which what it does again. Long side range and detection, and also some damage increasing to the squad, I think. They can drink some beer if you got the auxiliary expanded auxiliary equipment. So this in this equipment cage there's also some beer for them, which makes them stim. So they lose some health, but they also increase their regeneration a bit and will fire quite a lot. And they have also photon grenades. Tier 3 unit, very strong tier 3 unit indeed. If you move further the tech tree, you have tier 4 units. This one is a vanilla tier 4 unit, the Crotox. The Crotox is very good at melee and ranged, mainly used in melee, has a hell of a lot of HP, and yeah, it's like a walking tank in the thing, as you can think of it. And then also locked behind the Victor Ignition for the Guerrilla is the Contingency Battlesuit, which has, I think, a very long range, and it's basically it is, you can think of it like it's not more like a dreadnought kind of thingy, which because it's also using wounded soldiers to get inside this bigger suit. So this is more or less the Guerrilla equivalent to a dreadnought. Very strong, is tier 4, and also requires the expanded auxiliary weapon cage. A tier 4 relic unit is the Greater Narlock over here, which is your vanilla relic unit. You can see it has eaten some space marines and stuff over here, and the orc as well. Holy moly! So it is pretty hungry. It's has this little beak, so it's a chicken, I would call it. Very good at melee, has no range capabilities, but you can get a crude with a dual crude gun or a bolt thrower on the back. You have to decide, then you get some range capabilities as well, but still is mainly used for melee combat. I think with the relic suits, it's you can either have 2 of the suits or 1 suit and 1 Narlock or something like that. So there are some shared caps going on. You cannot get 2 suits and a Narlock on the field, because it would be too strong. But but the relic suits I will talk about later, what they require and what not. So this is your Narlock. I think these units require you to have Carrion, right? Yes. Crude Shaping Center and Carrion Command Post. So if you can get the chicken also with Mount Car, but then it will not have the ability to get the crude guys on top. Okay, so we can now jump over to the vehicles now. Your vehicles, you have, like I will talk about later about these big battlesuits because they are counting vehicles, but for now we are talking about more or less all these skimmers around here. So you see they are all very floaty. Nothing that is on the ground because we are Tau, we have advanced technology. Your first units you can get in tier 2 even without the vehicle production building is your skimmers you get from your HQ, which is your Piranha skimmer, which is very fast. It can jump. The jump isn't the fastest, but it's better than having not jump. Very good against infantry. It can get fusion blaster, which will exchange the main weapon on the front. I've seen people fall for it, like getting them and immediately getting the fusion blasters, even if there are no vehicles or buildings they want to focus on. Only get this when you want to get vehicles. Another unit is your Tetra Scout. It's limited to 1 because it's very good. It's very frail, but it's very fast because it's a skimmer. It has a very, very long ranged jump. You can see over here, which may or may not get nerfed in the future version because the jump is really good. And it can also mark a squad. What is also unique about the Scout is that it can cap and decap points. So in tier 2, if you want to have a unit fast on the front lines to decap your enemy points and also be a bit of a support with the marker lights, get the Tetra Scout. Also built from your HQ, as I said, limited to 1. Yeah. In tier 2 you get also access to your Devilfish Droop Carrier, which is your more or less your standard Rhino Chimera equivalent, but it is stealth and has some pretty good damage as well. And yeah, that it is stealth makes it really good. Limited to 3 because of the stealthing shenanigans. Basically you can, if you put in 2 fire rollers, they can, if the enemy has not detection, you can jump them in and out and basically make them immune to damage if you want to. So the Devilfish Troop Carrier can be used in various ways. Still in tier 2 you have access to the Skyray missile gunship, which is your more or less artillery unit. Not the longest range for artillery unit, I have to say. And you can get the missile barrage, which is special research for them. Does very good damage. It can be dodged, but yeah, look at the... Does it friendly fire? I don't think, but it's very, very good because it will force enemies to move out, or they will deal being dealt a hell of a lot of units. Also in tier 2, you see a lot of vehicles available in tier 2 is your drone Harbinger. The Harbinger itself has also some mild range capabilities, but what it is mainly used is to get these drones out, the Harbinger drones. They are some range drones, and yeah, they cost a lot of power. They cost only power and exist for a limited amount of time. I think it's 40 seconds or so. And yeah, they are basically, if you have enough power, you can get some chaff units to your opponent to tie them up, and then you get your real units to fire. Also in tier 2 you get access to the heavy gun drones. You can see here they can also hide in the ground. They can jump out and will do some knockback, I think. Are very short range, but the big kicker is that if they die they will explode. I think it's not showing here, but I think they will explode and deal a hell of a lot of damage around them. Very fast as well. I haven't showed it here, but yeah, they can be an issue if you do not expect a lot of vehicles, and then there are suddenly 3 squads of drones, and you're like, oh my god. Because most anti-vehicle weapons are also like single target, and then you have a squad of vehicles coming at you, so this can be quite dicey. If you choose Mont Car, you can get a special commander tank, which is Commander Long Strike's gunship over here. Has very good rail gun at the top and can use its ion cannon overcharge, which makes him, I think, a bit slower, but it deals more damage. Also costs some power. Also locked behind Montcar are your tier 4 vehicles, which is a Hammerhead gunship, very big railgun, also floaty, can get some different weapons here, and yeah, basically your heavy tier 4 tank. A special relic tank, which is not a relic unit by itself, is the Swordfish heavy gunship, which is more or less a more sophisticated Hammerhead, has more HP, but is limited to 1. You saw that all these, or most of these skimmers, have a jump ability. Like the skimmers over here, Piranha and Scout, they start with a jump. All the other units that have a jump over here require a special tier 4 research for them to be able to jump. So they can be very mobile later on in the later tiers. Before we jump to the big suits, we will make a quick stop over here talking about the flyer units. Your tier 2 flyer is your Barracuda. The Barracuda, you will not be able to get more than 2 Barracudas because it costs you 4 population, and you can get with your tier 2 building and your vehicle production buildings, you get up to 8 population, so you will not get more than 2 Barracudas. And yeah, they're very strong. Damage wise, the range isn't the strongest, but they're fast, dealing a lot of damage, but are very frail. So you need to make sure to keep them safe because they are not cheap, and the HP you see here is not very high. If you chose Mont Car, which you hear now for the bigger suits and stuff a little more often, you have the Sun Shark Bomber over here, which is also having some range damage on its own, but also has this little bomb over here. Which does, I think, detonation, disorientations, and having trouble for a short duration. So also getting some debuffs on the enemy. And lastly, we have here, lastly but not leastly, whatever you want to call it, you have this really big tier super heavy flyer over here, which has twin-linked railguns at the front, some more guns on the side. Yeah, very good at hunting titans because it has this twin-linked railguns. Very mobile because it's flyer units, of course, and then it has also this Seeker missile barrage, which does not need to be researched, but is more like a hunter-killer missile, but a bit stronger than your usual hunter-killer missile. Was there one thing I wanted to say? No, we can now jump over to the big suits over here. You have your Relic Tier 4 suits over here, your Ghost Kneel, your Riptide, Havara, and your Havarna battlesuit. Apart from the Ghost Kneel, all of them are locked behind Montcar. And for the Ghost Kneel, all their different upgrades you can get, you can upgrade these guys various ways, are locked behind Montcar. You can get different weapons for the right and left arm, and also the drones you see here. They are not squad members, and they are just add-ons you can think of. Two of which I have added over here. One enables you to get a target acquired, which is basically a marker ability, and the other one is the shield ability. These are the drones that have been added. And what is special about the Ghost Kneel, that it can toggle infiltration whenever it wants, which will however disable its range weapons. It can still melee, but the range weapons are disabled. It can also jump. The other battlesuit you see a lot more often than the Ghost Kneel is the Riptide battlesuit. It has very good weapons. I'm not a big expert which of these drones is best at what. It can also get drones over here, this and has two modes. It has this overcharge burst thingy, which makes it has more damage, but this, what is it again? Causing red damage. Okay, it will damage itself for some more damage output, and it can also use the energy shield over here. I think, yeah, if the shield is up, it will take less damage, but it will also deal less damage. It can also jump and equip either the ion accelerator or this missile systems to it. The other two suits over here are your Havara battlesuit, which can also jump. You can get the overcharge munition, which is similar to the overcharge over here. Needs to be researched, however. Makes it a little bit slower. And you can also get this target acquired, which is one of the drones. You see that it has two drones, right? Yeah. And the shield drones for itself does not have an active shield. It provides constant damage resistance to it. Similar to it, it has the Havara battlesuit, which can also get two drones, but it has to decide to get either these Nova reactors you see here, or get these drones, which gives them the one shield drone gives them the damage resistance, and also the marker drones the mark ability. And yeah, cannot jump because it is more or less highly equipped for artillery fire. You can see over here, so it's slow and more of your slow and bigger burst damage kind of suit, whereas the others are faster, with the fastest and most mobile, of course, being the very small-ish Ghost Kneel battlesuit. What is not small, however, are the Tier 1 and Tier 2 Titans. You have your Tier 1 Titan being your Storm Surge ballistic suit, which can, you can see here, can get to the ground or not. If it is not on the ground, it will use these various missiles, and if it is in the ground, it enables this like big ass rail rifle on the back. Holy shit, is this nice or is this nice? Is this still enabled? Yeah, I think this this is only used for the missiles and not for this rail cannon over here. The Tier 2 Titan is the Ta'una Supreme Armor, which is, yeah, as you can see here, a big old artillery battlesuit which does a lot of big booms. It has these side weapons over here, and then also this big weapon at the back. You see the weapon on the back has way higher reload time, but that's for a reason. It is one of the best ranged units, I would say, in the game. Has some the Titanic charge, which enables it to get out of tricky situations a bit, does some damage around it and some knockback. Has no other abilities apart from, I think there's this shield is just saying that it has some range damage resistance, and yeah, it's mainly only used into range combat. You can see it does not have any melee capabilities. Okay, before we now jump into the campaign special units, I quickly want to make sure to talk about the Tau Warrior range. We did go over the Tau Warriors here, but I have this bulk of Tau Warriors. One is unupgraded, one got the tier 2 upgrade, and one got the tier 3 Carrion special upgrades optics. And you can see here from this point over here, the normal range is up to this stealth suits. If you got the first upgrade, you increase your range damage and range to here, and then you have your Carrion special upgrade, which enables it to fire over here. So you can see why the ranged of these fire warriors for some people is a bit hard to play around with, because even jump tubes will normally get in range before they can jump later on the line. Okay, I hope I covered all the more or less skirmish units over here, so I can now jump over to the honor guard units in the campaign. And here we see the campaign honor guard units. You have one honor guard unit in the front, which is a special shaper unit, has some increased stats, but is more or less, I think, a normal shaper, and that it increases the movement speed and damage of a recruit he is attached to. You have also access to this veteran stealth team, which is basically 3 of the Chasseurs together, so they start with the EMP grenade right away and are pretty strong against vehicles, just as they are over here. You have also access to a special Crude Alpha pack over here, which is more or less your normal Crudes, but stronger. You can also get the suppression Crude rifle. Currently there's a little bug, so they cannot get it, or at least I experience it over here. This is being sent over to the devs, so this might be fixed when you see this guide in the future. You have also Fire Warrior bodyguards, which are basically like the Fire Warrior bodyguards from the Ethereal over here. Start off with photon grenades, however, the honor guards do not have photon grenades. Here you have the Wesped Elder Strange, which is basically a full squad of these strain leaders. Can get a strain leader themselves too, so they get a hell of a lot of HP, have the Wesped's abilities but not the weapons because they are the squad leaders. You have a crude hunting pack, which crude hounds, honor guards back, nothing special about them over here. Your bigger suit you have access to is your Crisis Suit Guard, which is a single model unit, has the missile pods as well, but has also the plasma rifle in tier 3, so it can exchange the weapons on both sides to be more like that. I think this is a flamer, and this is a more or less a normal Crisis Suit gun. You can exchange each weapon. Quickly checking where the plasma rifle is added to. Does it state? No. Okay, it's this side over here, and the flamer then can get exchanged to missile pod. You have also a more or less special broadside battlesuit over here, which has basically the reversed. In the normal battle crisis broadside battlesuit has the missiles over here and the railguns on the back. This has it exchanged, but it behaves more or less like a standard broadside battlesuit, very good against vehicles and aircraft. And the 2 vehicles you can access here, the Drone Harbinger and the Skywing Missile Gunship, are more or less equivalent to the units you would get normally, but yeah, as they are honor guard, you have them right away and they do not cost any vehicle cap. There's one more special unit that is only available in survival. I do not make an additional save game over here, but this is a special squad of Pathfinders. You see here that the normal Pathfinders get these different squad leaders, but the Pathfinder special team in survival reinforcement, it does not get squad leaders, but it gets access to some 2 special weapons, like a rail sniper weapons and another long range weapon, so they are more like the team itself gets the weapon instead of the leader. So this is another unit you will have access to in survival. Okay, with all the units out of the way and buildings and stuff, we can now jump into the tech trees. And here we are in the tech tree document. As usual, you can get a PDF version of this in my Google Drive. here's all the different units, weapons, upgrades and whatnot shown here. Even the there's because this is a campaign faction, you can also get the hero walkie enabled, so your Tau commander behaves more like the commander from the campaign. You get it from your listing post, and I put everything that is Mont Car locked in blue and everything that is Carrion locked in red. So if you browse through it, you will see some blue and red whenever it is important, you could say. One thing I want to talk about here, it's less about what units you can get and stuff, you already talked about it, but first of all the tier strength, and then there's the big question in the community if you want to go Carrion or Montcar. But okay, firstly the tier strengths. Tau starts off pretty good in tier 1, has some weaknesses depending on the path you go. If you go Fire Warriors, you can play very defensive but not very offensively, and if you go for the Crude Shaping Center, aka the Auxiliary Recruitment Center, you're very good at the offense but not that good at the defense. You more or less rely on your Tau commander on most of your builds because he is a more versatile unit. Because as I said in the beginning, these are more melee and harassment good, but not very good at defense. And the Fire Warriors are the complete opposite, where they're good at defense, but not very good at offense. A common mistake I see beginners make is that they move their Fire Warriors out in tier 1, where there is nothing to gain for Tau in tier 1. You will not be able to harass with the Tau Fire Warriors. They cannot walk away very easily. So yeah, moving in with the Tau Fire Warriors in tier 1 is normally not a good thing. Tier 2 is where a lot of things for Tau gets enabled. You get very fast skimmer vehicles, you get very good units in the broadside and also the preacher depending on the things, and you get a lot of different vehicles. So tier 2 is getting a lot stronger. You have more caps as well, so you can get more units. And then it depends what path you take. So we can immediately talk about the path. Carrion is considered the go-to way in vanilla because it is the Montcar units get online too late for make up for what Carrion enables you. In Unification, it's not as clear cut. The Carrion path is the best in tier 3 because you can see here some of them are victory condition, but you can still see that there is a lot of tier 3 units enabled for you right away. You get also two very important researches in Carrion. Increased metallurgy is getting HP for basically all your units and increasing your armor class of your Tau Warriors to be equivalent to Terminators, so they get very durable. And then you have these special optics, which gives your Fire Warriors an extreme range to their attacks. So tier 3, it's Carrion all the way. This turns around in tier 4. Yes, in tier 3 you have these crisis suits and commander longsword, whatever, this commander tank over here. But in tier 4 you get access to these hammer heads and this one unit over here. You get your Sun Shark, you get all your big suits over here and whatnot. So tier 4 is Montcar all the way. Even your special suits over here. Tier 5 is basically tier 1 Titan. Tier 2 Titan is more or less standard-ish. Apart if you go for the victory condition and have Libra, then your tier 2 Titan is absolutely amazing. But yeah, to say it again, tier 1 can be a bit abused depending on the faction they are against. They struggle or are very good. Tier 2 opens a lot of different options, which enables them, basically mostly Tau wants to get in tier 2 and play the game. They do not usually excel in tier 1 all-ins depending on it. If they go for tier 1 all-in, this is mostly with auxiliaries over here. So basically they want to get to tier 2. They want to get, in a good timing to tier 2 with good resources. And then they can play basically the game, you could say. And then depending on the path you go for, you have very strong tier 3 for Carrion, or play it for even longer for very strong tier 3. For the units, I do not want to talk too much about it because I have already talked about it in, I think, great detail over here. what they do and what they can do and stuff like that. Is there anything I want to add? No, I just want to show you the special sniper squad over here, which is this over here. They get a squad leader. I lied to you. They get a squad leader, yes, normal, but they also get these special weapons and can mark into tier 2. This is what is special about the Pathfinder, Honor Guard, or Survival Reinforcement. In Survival you get also one of the big battle suits here, but the upgrades for the battle suit are still locked behind Montcar. Okay, with this out of the way, we can now jump into the build orders. And here you are in the build order document. For this, these are heavily inspired, quote-unquote, quoted von Grindern, which is, as I said, our Tau Empire, more or less expert we have in the Discord. He has played Tau in vanilla quite a lot and now also in the mod. So we have more or less standard opener here, which I have put 2 builds together basically, because you in this standard build you get either your barracks or auxiliary center and a generator. A second builder right away to build up this fast, 2 stealth suits, the jump pack, and then your commander. And later on to, because your tier 2 is a building, you want to have a 3 builder. So 1 builder can do builder things like getting more generators and stuff, and 2 builders power build the tier 2. And get your Tau commander right away. So the premise is for this, if you go for firewalls, you want to play very defensively and hold your points around, upgrade a point, and go for the tier 2. Whereas if you go for crudes, you can harass very well. So they harass and they will not be able to harass your own builders, so you can get a good economy behind it. Depending on the situations, you want to add more units. Why do I have only 2 crudes? Because the firewalls, in the best case, you do not need to reinforce as much, so you can get another squad, so they can also help themselves, cover themselves basically. Whereas the crudes, if you go crudes, you need to reinforce them because they're melee units and they will lose some models, so that's why you do not want to get more than 2 crudes usually. Then there's an economy focused build. You can see it right away. You get a generator first. You do not get any crudes or firewalls. You get 3 stealth suits, however, and a commander, and later on the jump pack. So this will hinder your stealth suit capping speed a bit. But what this is all about is that you want to also decap your opponent's points with these stealth suits and be very active with the Tau commander. So keep the enemy from your relatively undefended own base, so you can build up safely behind it. You see that you can get, if you get this into tier 2, you have a lot of resources because you do not spend any requisition over here on other units than stealth suits. Then you have, I have 2 builds containing Vespids. We have Vespids with crudes. This is a build very aggressive because you have your Vespids and then your crude. You have 3 stealth suits, so you can what this is mainly used to have either a crude or a stealth suit right next to your Vespid. So if you killed a listening post, you can immediately decap it. So this is very aggressive. What this does not allow you is to be very defensive because of the units you chose, and can be backfire in that sense. Then you have heavy harassment, I call it. It's basically 2 jumpy units very early on. You have your Vespids with jump and your Tau commander, so they can be very good at harassing your opponent, which the big problem with this build is that you need a generator to get all the different units and resources out right away, and 2 very expensive units, so you will not be able to get your listening posts up right away. So you're vulnerable to getting decaps on your own, but this is mainly used against factions which are weak against early harassment. Then a build I always have in here, but is very, very situational, is of course a tier 2 rush for early tier 2, which the best use for this tier 2 rush is to get some very early tetra skimmers and piranhas, because you can get them in tier 2 right away without the need of a vehicle production building. You get vehicle cap from a tier 2 building also right away, so you can get very fast vehicles in tier 2s, and this is mainly what this build is all about. And then a very situational build you see very rarely, but is a thing, is the stealth suit spam. you get one of the barracks or crude centers, but do not build anything from it, and the generator, 3 stealth suits, the builder, the jump, and then you get this upgrade. This is one of the upgrades which increases your stealth suit damage, and then you want to add more and more stealth suits. The commander here is actually optional depending on what you face. The stealth suit spam also goes hand in hand with an offensive turret, because or defensive or offensive depending on the situation. There are some factions you can get the stealth suit spam because you cannot fight the enemy forces they bring to you right away head on with crude or fire warriors, so you then go for the stealthy build where they cannot see you, and this is most of the time also when you want a turret, I think. So that's why I have a turret here. And then you have the turret rush. This looks very familiar to the standard build I have early on, you can see here. But the difference is that you cannot get the jump. Because to get the turret out, you skip the generator. And if you skip this generator, you do not have enough power to get the Tau Commander and the turret and the jump. If you get the turret and the Tau Commander, you're basically zeroing out on power, which also means that you cannot repair this turret. So this is what this makes this build very dangerous and kind of all-inny. So very situational. I would only use this like if you have a series of games you play against another player to throw them off. So if they're expecting you, okay, he goes fire wars and be defensive again. No, then you drop down an offensive turret and they're like, oh my god, I didn't expect that. So this is kind of a throw-off build, I would say. Okay, so with these build orders, big shout out to Grindin again for providing me some in-detail feedback to the build orders. I probably haven't mentioned every detail that he has written me, so I hope he will come into the comment section here and add a few bits here and there. And yeah, lastly, I will finish this guide as usual with a replay I want to share. I have a game of Grindin actually that I want to use for that, so yeah, see you in a second in the replay. And here we are in the example replay where we have on the top side Wood playing Blood Angels and Mr. Grindin here on the south side playing Tau Empire. This was one of the games I have casted already on my channel, so if you have seen it already, you kind of will know what happened, but I remember not all of it. I just remember that it's pretty cool. You seem like a vanilla player. I remember this little thing. And you see here that he goes for the 3 stealth suits into jetpacks, so this is more of the economy game, but you see that he also doesn't go for the standardish. Maybe he is a bit how should I say, distracted by the talking over here. Yeah, you see he was busy talking, so he did go for 2 fire warriors and not a commander. So this is one of the builds he hasn't provided me here, and it's not that standard, but you can get 2 fire warriors and not a commander. Usually you want to get a commander and a Tau fire warrior because you can build them right away. So he goes for the more or less standard fire warrior build. 3 stealth suits into 2 fire warriors over here. And this is not the economy based build and whatnot, so he will get defensive fire warriors. You can use the fire warriors to capture this point over here, for example, but as you have 3 stealth suits, you can also use it to great effect like that. He will use his fire warriors defensively, parking one over here probably and the other one on this ledge over here, so he has then this little nice arc over here. Then you can use your stealth suits once they captured your points to go around the map, capture either the critical locations and or try for going a decap. Maybe I also misunderstood his game where he said he wants to go for 3 stealth suits, but yeah, I think I remember him saying that you want to get a Tau Commander over here. So as he is more expert, he has of course more of his own kind of takes on it. You see here that there are now the ASM coming in, and the firers on this side need to run away because they cannot hold their own, but there will be the fire warriors over here and shoot from the top in a second, so they can now provide covering fire to this. If you go for the Tau Commander, you want to have the Tau Commander giving cover fire to your fire warriors and use his traps, of course, because the snare traps are very potent. Does he start the building of this point? Yes, he does. So this is now, not an issue over here. He can and should use his stealth suit, of course, to capture this point, but he's busy microing his fire warriors, getting a third squad of fire warriors as well. So they are even more covering each other. So he goes for a very defensive tier 2 approach, which is more or less the standard way of playing. You can see here that he gets the generator very late and not getting the Tau commander. So there are a few more builds, of course, than the one I have listed here. If you play a faction more and more, you get into the various details on what you can adjust a build order and when you cannot. I would really like if this point would be upgraded over here, but for now he's busy microing his fire warriors over here. 2 squads of ASM is normally also not a standard way for Blood Angels. Normally Blood Angels want to get to a quicker tier 2 and then get all the tier 2 jumpy squads, but this is what Wood has opted for over here. Immediately getting the listing post rebuilt is also kinda sad over here for Wood. The stealth suits not in green stance over here. They will now capture again. They can capture infiltrated but not decap, because a point will give you some detection around it, so even if you decap it, you will be seen by quite a bit. This is now a 4th fire warrior squad, so this is a very aggressive build that is not in the normal playbooks of Tau to get to 4 fire warriors, but he kind of felt the aggression, I think. Over here there are some scouts coming in, there's the assault squads over here, but I think you could get could deal with these assault squads even without getting that much fire warriors. This however means that his power is kind of already filling up, so he might get, if he wants to, the tier 2 with only 2 generators. Normally you want to get tier 2 with 3 generators because you want to upgrade a point or 2. His point is still not upgraded, but his economy is alrightish for what game state we are here. And now the question is if he saves up for tier 2 or if he upgrades a point. In these situations I would recommend to get to tier 2 now and upgrade the point with the next generator. So I would now drop the tier 2, and he is getting, not, it was a misplay, the Path of Enlightenment over here. Why do you get it over here and not in your base? Depends on the base layout. I have seen Tau players getting a lot of generators over here and upgrading this point. He now gets the generator over here where it is protected by these firewalls and can be protected by the listing post. And getting a generator and Path of Enlightenment over here can be dangerous, but he has the firewalls over here. He will upgrade the point over here. Probably get now another builder and also a generator, I would assume, or yeah, there you go, another builder out. So you want to have 3 builders once you get to tier 2, because yeah, 2 builders will be busy getting this point, and this builder will probably get a generator. Looking from the resources here, not yet. He's there you go. So you can see you can play Tau defensively if you have your own points, because you can defend him very well. So he's now just sitting back for now, getting more generators, and then it depends what you want to go. If you go for vehicles or a fast economy upgrades or breachers, stuff like that, you can decide on your own with the Tau barracks it is. Also, if you go very defensively, a broadside battlesuit can be very good. Upgrading this point is on purpose to give some cover for this generator. So instead of, let's say, gaining this or this point, you immediately want to get, of course, the advanced plasma batteries, which is your go-to research if you go for fire warriors. It also increases the damage of your stealth suits, but this is not your primary reason you get it. You get it for the damage and range on your fire warriors. Vehicle beacon it is, so we will probably get some stealthy devil fishes over here. He can get up to 2 devil fishes, and now depends if he goes, yeah. One trick or thing you will see in generally all of Dawn of War is that you do not reinforce your squads to maximum, but rather get more squad leaders, because the squad leaders will have a bigger impact than just another unit. Getting now some pathfinders, this is something you can get now on the way to tier 2, for example, that they are already out. These will provide you with vision, because the fire warriors can fire farther than they can see. So that's where the pathfinders come in. They can also mark out a squad, and then the fire warriors can attack it to get some very good burst damage. And there it comes in the Devilfish troop carriers. It is also not unseen to get just all 3 maximum of Devilfish troop carriers and use them as like kind of small little tanks as well. So this can be very good. There's the land speeder over here. The land speeder does not have the multi-melter yet, so there's not the biggest issue. And the Chassis Fire Warrior can also deal pretty good against these light vehicles. They are not designed to kill medium vehicles, but against light vehicles they can more or less hold their own. These are the Fire Warriors without the Chassis. These are the Fire Warriors with Chassis, and they will be immediately being used over here. They can also throw in photon grenades if need be. This sword could be marked. You can see here that the Pathfinders cannot shoot, but they can see very well. You could get for the Pathfinder Chassis, so they can get some damage, but yeah. For now it's multi-pronged attack, and if he got for Chassis, not yet, they can kind of deal with it, depending on what he does. He can also upgrade his stealth suits if they are still around. I think one stealth suit should be around, right? 4 fires. Yeah, one stealth suit should be around somewhere. In the middle actually. Over here. And there you see the big damage they can deal against these units. And there's the second Devilfish troop carrier. And third, you see you can get all. And these can now attack over here. The Devilfish troop carrier will not get any damage dealt to them. The Fire Warriors will, but look at the damage it does. You cannot mark buildings, you can mark vehicles however. And now the question is, will the Devilfish also get these units inside? It looks like it, and then you have 2 Devilfish troop carriers with a lot of units. No marking of these veterans yet, but yeah, the Fire Warriors will get inside of here, and the Pathfinders will be the guys that are more quickly on their foot, so that's why they are being left behind for now. A bit of a slip up on the micro over here because he's busy over here. And you see no stealth detection, so the Devilfish troop carrier can deal some damage on its own and also can get the units out safety. A little concerning about the take and hold timer over here. So there's even a skull probe trying to see this stealth suit, and we are able to do so. He could get a Techtrees skimmer, as I said earlier. There's a chief librarian. If he gets marked, he's a dead librarian very quickly. As I said, in these situations, a Techtrees skimmer would be really good for some fast capping. The Pathfinders did not survive, so he opts to replace them. Also added another stealth suit to now get the anti-vehicle options that he needs against these land speeders, and maybe even land speeder tempests. In comes the troop carrier without units just to drive back the scouts, and in comes also the stealth suits now getting the decap. But there is also an assault veteran squad, but there's a lot of Tau guys over here on the front. They may be in danger of getting flanked over here, but they also can just jump in these troop carriers and get out if there's no detection. So this is kind of a hard position. The Pathfinders here are now used for decap, I think. Decap can also be used by a stealth suit if one would be nearby, but it's over here. This troop carrier, sadly for wood, has no units inside. But yeah, where's the second troop carrier? Okay, one troop carrier coming over here trying to save the guys so they can get the decap, and now he's actually getting all 3 points over here, so this is very important for him. There's now some detection over here from either a librarian or a skull probe, and one melter bomb is not just enough. There's a bit more needed, and there's again the Pathfinders getting left behind. Sad for those guys. He will, however, now Grindon is getting the take and hold point over here and can play it slowly depending on what he's getting here. Yeah, he gets the Kauyon command post over here, so he has gotten enough resources. The command posts are a bit more requisition heavy than your normal tier 3 from your HQ, I think, but yeah, can be double built, so you can get a really quick tier 3. And tier 3 timing in this is about 13 minutes. It's pretty standard-ish. Looking at the economy, he might have gotten also some economy upgrades. You can see here the first one over here. Not sure if he have gotten a requisition upgrade. Well, if I see this points, it kind of looks like it. But he has also all 3 upgraded points, so he has a hell of a lot of economy. And you see that he's very peculiar, very slowly moving in. 1 chassis here, 2 chassis here, and the other one have 2 chassis and are not fully reinforced. You can see it. Or are they? They are. And some are not. The priority lies, of course, in getting the chassis. Auxiliary recruitment center even getting now built after the Carrion command post. Yeah, because you normally want to build it in tandem, because I said the Carrion is very good at auxiliaries. You want to have that. Again, the Pathfinders being on the receiving end of things. Now the question is, you want to get the optics right away and also the metallurgy upgrades here. To see if he gets them right away or if he opting for some auxiliary. There you go. Targeting optics. Drone controllers now be able to roll spotter. Ah. And metallurgy, which increased the HP of all the units and also the armor class. We have a tank against us and the chief librarian, but this is a very deadly firing line, especially now with the optics. They can fire from basically all over this place over here. They can have a bigger range than these primary suppressors over here. And the tank can be stunned here. We will see an EMP grenade. There you go. And now it's a sitting duck. There's a lot of fire warriors. They do not deal the highest damage against vehicles, but they will deal some damage. And there's also the stealth suits coming in, closing the distance. Increased metallurgy is now up, so all the different units will have more HP and the tank will go down. There's even a second, I think, stun being used by the other stealth suits. I do not think the stun itself lasts as long. Take and hold, counter is still here. There's some crude hounds, but the crude hounds really need the shaper. Is he getting a shaper? Yeah, with the shaper they are good, without they are not as good. More economy upgrades, and this is not looking good for wood over here, because Tau is at the point where it wants to be. It has all these units, it is sitting in their own base very safely, and anything they get presented they can deal with. There are still the primary suppressors over here, but he has killed a predator, which is always a good thing if it's happening, not happening for yourself. There's not the stealth suits killing the land speeders, and they're very there you see the marking again. No, not again, but there you see the marking. You see also the red dot. There's some attention over here, some attention over here, but Grindon deals with it all. Again, the Pathfinders marking his squad and then need to run away. Another Pathfinder squad is over here, so they run away. And you see the damage is there. The fire warriors fully reinforced. 4 squads. The micro on this isn't as easy. There's some detection over here from the librarian, so the stealth suits cannot move in. The stealth suits are more meant to fight vehicles that have no detection nearby, or even go for base trading scenarios. I have seen, like on Quest Triumph, I have seen games where 2 to 3 stealth suits go into enemy economy, and yeah. You see that Tau won the game without even being at the enemy base, apart from this little thing over here. They haven't been attacking the enemy base except from this, and still they won, because all they get attacked into they can defend, and then on the backside they get more economy, they get more units, and at some point they are at a point of no return, basically, where they have the critical mass of fire warriors supported by even some crudes in melee if need be, and some pathfinders, some stealth suits and stuff for some anti-vehicles. So this is, apart from the opener, which was non-standard, the build up of it was very standard, and the unit composition he was opting for is also very standard. Okay, so this now closes the guide. As usual, as if I have forgotten something, please add it in the comments. If I have some false information provided, also correct me in the comments. If you liked it, leave a comment and also a like. Big shout out to Grindon again for helping me with the build orders in particular, and some more detailed info. You can see clearly in the replay that he knows how to play the Tau very well. Yeah, as usual guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye!